Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvijavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, so we are on verse number 18, right? 18. So let us chant. Please unmute yourself and we can chant this 18th of the third chapter. Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Bhagavan Uvacha
Naiva Tasya Kritenarthaha
Naiva tasya kritinarthaha
Nakrite Neha Kashtana
Nakriteneha kashana
Nachasya Sarva Bhuteshu
Nachasya sarva bhuteshu
Kaschid Arthavyapashrayah
Chidartha vyapashrayah.
Okay, so you may have noticed that I said Kriten Arthaha instead of what is written as Artho. Does anybody know the reason why? Several such changes we make while chanting. So remember that this Tasya Kriten Artho Na Kritena is one sentence. And when you are writing in Sanskrit, it's written as Kritena Artho, but for chanting purposes, you have to drop the Sandhi. And when the Sandhi is dropped, it becomes a Visarga. So, Naiva Tasya Kritena Arthaha. A small point, but you should know. Okay, now we look at the word. Yes,
Acharya, but when we chant together, we do say Nartho.
No, that's incorrect.
Nakrite.
That's incorrect because you are breaking the word. No, if you are chanting together, basically you are doing pada by pada. Or if you are doing together, but then together is never done. Each pada is that there are four padas there. There are four what you call quarters. And therefore you should try to do the traditional chanting. There are some teachers who do the other way also, but this is the correct way. Anyway.
Okay, thank you.
So you are not there to chanting 12?
Yes, I'm attending.
How do they do?
The same way we break it. I thought because we're beginners, they break it, but we don't do the full.
No, we don't do because actually each pada, like each sloka is divided into four padas, four quarters. And each quarter, when you pronounce, then you do it the correct way. Okay, anyway, that's only for understanding purpose. Now let's look at the words. Naiva tasya kritenarthaha. So it is broken into na eva tasya kritena arthaha. Okay, so na eva tasya kritena arthaha. Then na kriteneha is broken into na akritena iha, and there is kashchana. Okay, these breakups are very, very important. And even if you guys are not familiar with Sanskrit, I suggest that you make notings of these breakups, right? Because this thing is going to go on for a very long time, right? It's a long-term study. So just by listening to the word breakups, you will begin to understand Sanskrit, at least the fundamentals. And let me tell you, that is how I did. I have never formally studied Sanskrit. So whatever Sanskrit I know today has come out of listening to my teacher. So, and my grasp is good enough for me to read now. So it's same thing is going to happen to you. Of course, I'm not saying that. Ideally is to do a Sanskrit course, which is why Shivani is offering one. And if you can join that, nothing like it. Or any other course in your vicinity, if you can join. There are many which are offered by Chinmaya Ashram, all those things. There are many Sanskrit courses. Ideally, is to do that. I was not fortunate enough, but still, by constant listening, and I'll try to explain to you every time how the breakup occurs and all that. By constant listening, you'll pick up, just like a child picks up a language. That's why we're doing it for so much detail. So, na eva tasya kritena artha, na akritena iha kaschana, then na chasya is cha plus asya, na cha asya sarva bhuteshu, then kaschit arthav, the arthavya pashraya is kaschit artha vyapashraya. Kaschit artha vyapashraya. Okay. So the Anvaya we can make as tasya iha na eva kaschana artha kritena, comma. Nava akritena. Va has to be added. Va meanings or. You can add va in brackets because it is not there in the original shloka. So supply na va akritena or va na akritena. Full stop. Na cha asya sarvabhuteshu kaschit. Somebody left the mic open, please. Would you? I'll do it myself. Okay. Na cha asya sarvabhuteshu kaschit artha vyapashraya. That is the Anvaya. Now look at the words tasya, for that person, uske liye, for that person. Iha na eva kaschana artha. Iha, in this world, na eva kaschana artha. There is indeed no artha here means goal or destination. There is nothing to do basically. So na iha eva kaschana artha. There is indeed no goal at all. Which kritena, by doing, va or na kritena, not by doing or by not doing. That is one. For this person in this world, there is no goal by doing or not doing. Doing what? Karma. There is nothing to be. This artha here has to be taken as nothing to be gained. Artha is the objective here. So there is nothing to be gained by doing karma or not doing karma. That is the meaning of the first line. Tasya iha na eva kaschana artha kritena va na akritena. Which means there is nothing that person gains by doing karma or not doing karma. And nacha asya, nor for that person, artha vyapashrayaha kaschida is there. So here you have to take the breakups carefully. Asya, for that person, na kaschid artha vyapashraya. The na has to be carried forward and connected to kaschid. So asya, for that person, na kaschid vyapashraya. There is no dependence. Artha vyapashraya means dependence on anything. So asya, for that person, na kaschid artha vyapashraya. There is no dependence on anything or sarva bhuteshu or on any being. So ultimately it means for that person, there is no dependence on any object or any living being. In short, for that person, there is nothing to be gained by doing karma or not doing karma. And that person has no dependence upon anything or anybody. Okay. In this world, he has nothing to gain through action, nothing to lose through inaction, nor does he have any dependence on any person. In short, who is this tasya? Who is this that person?
The person who's following,
The person,
like
the person who is a Jivan Mukta we're talking about, right? Here he is saying what has been achieved. That person has become a Jivan Mukta. For a Jivan Mukta, there is nothing to be gained by doing karma. Because he's already Jivan Mukta. He doesn't need Chitta Shuddhi. He's already got Chitta Shuddhi and he's become Jivan Mukta. And if he doesn't do karma, is he going to lose Jivan Mukta status? No, because Jivan Mukta status is permanent. Having got it, it never goes away. So that is one question which somebody asked once. Supposing I am a Jivan Mukta, what does it mean when I say I am Jivan Mukta?
There is no fear of birth or death.
That is the phalam.
Self-realization.
Self-reliant.
That is also phalam.
Atmajnana.
Atmajnanam.
What does it really mean? When you say Atma Jnanam, what does it mean?
That you are
Inspire.
perfect, you are complete within yourself, and you
He
are
realizes he is Brahman.
One
is
has
Brahman.
transcended.
The
One has
correct,
transcended
the
all the
correct
gunas.
definition is that he knows he is Brahman.
He is Brahman.
Okay, remember that. Jivan Mukta means he knows he is Brahman. Okay, now, so once you know you are Brahman, does that knowledge ever go away?
No.
So somebody asked, what happens if he goes into a coma? He has a brain injury and goes to a coma. Is he still Jivan Mukta?
Yes, he
Yes.
is. Because it is
No, he is not.
assimilated.
Remember that Jivan Mukta status belongs to whom?
Atma, the person who knows his Brahman.
Person who
Atma.
knows Brahman, right? Atma is always Atma. Whether the body is there or not, Atma is always Atma. And therefore, this Jivan Mukta, he will not lose anything. His Jivan Mukta status is not going to go away. And for such a person, he is basically, his karma is no longer karma. You know, it is in Sanskrit, we call it karma abhasa. Abhasa means what? As if. Having the appearance of is called abhasa. So the karma done by a Jivan Mukta is called karma abhasa, not karma. And karma produces punyam. But this as if karma does not produce punyam. Right? Not doing will not produce papam also. So for this jnani, who is a karma, who is a Jivan Mukta, doing karma produces no punyam. Not doing karma produces no papam. Why? Because he is no longer identified with the body-mind complex. It is the body-mind complex which does karma. So this as if concept you have to understand, you know. So, you know, let me use an example. Supposing you have, you know, you are going to tell your wife, like, Amit, are you married? We need a man over here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you want to understand the meaning of, you know, as if, supposing you go to your wife and she's very well dressed up, and then you tell her you are as if beautiful, what is going to happen?
As if beautiful means?
Supposing you tell her, supposing asks you, you know, how do I look?
I
And
have
you
to
say,
say,
you look seemingly beautiful, you say.
she will get angry.
Yeah, so you will have to go to the ICU, right? And therefore, the effect of saying seemingly is as good as saying you are not. So saying that you are seemingly beautiful means saying that you are not beautiful. And therefore, this as if karma abhasa is that. As if karma is as good as no karma. And therefore, doing karma will not produce punyam. Doing karma abhasa will not produce papa. And in his commentary on, there is an Upanishad called Brihadaranyaka, very huge Upanishad. In his commentary there, in the first chapter, Shankara comments that even Bhagavan cannot threaten the moksha of a jnani. How can Bhagavan threaten the moksha of a jnani? He cannot take it away, right? Why can he not take it away?
Because he's one with it.
Because it is his own nature. The jnani, when he says a person is a jnani, that person is the same as Bhagavan. Bhagavan cannot take away his own swarupa, his own nature. And therefore Shankara says, even Bhagavan cannot threaten the moksha of a jnani. So in that case, what is there for him to do or not do? He has discovered his inner independence. He has discovered Purnatvam, right? Inner freedom. And remember, we are saying inner freedom. Because we have a body, Because we are using the physical body, we can never have total independence. External independence, we can never have. Total physical freedom, you can never have. Because physically, you are dependent on so many things. You require food, you require a shelter, a roof over your head, you require clothing. Even when I'm driving on the road, am I totally independent? No. I have to follow traffic rules. And if I don't follow traffic rules, then I will have an accident. And even if I don't follow traffic rules, on Indian roads, you will have buffaloes and cows on the road, which will obstruct your movement. You never have total freedom. And therefore, for total physical freedom, you should never ask. As long as a body is there, that body is subject to the laws of the universe. Your gravity you are subject to, everything is subject to. And therefore, you will never get total physical freedom. That you should never ask for. I should voluntarily accept the physical limitations, all the traffic rules, all the rules of the society. I should voluntarily accept. But as far as my mind is concerned, I can have total psychological freedom. Freedom from depending on anything or anybody for my happiness. That inner independence is what is called moksha. Freedom from dependence on anything or anybody for my own happiness. And the jnani is a person who is independent like this. He does not even depend upon his action. His karma is not done for his happiness. He does not depend upon not doing karma for happiness. Because these are the two weaknesses of the world, right? For example, take a workaholic. Some of you may have partners or friends who are workaholics. They are addicted to what? Action. Without action, without constantly doing something, they are not happy. Some of you have friends who are addicted to quietude. They are addicted to that silence, to the quietness. And if that is not there, they become unhappy. So two extreme ends. One person who is unhappy when he is not doing something. One person who is unhappy when he is doing something. One person is happy when he is doing something all the time. One person is happy when he is not doing it. He is quiet. So two ends are there, two weaknesses are there, action, inaction. And therefore, this man, this jnani, does not depend upon either of them. So Krishna says this jnani is the one who is not dependent upon action for his happiness. Of course, when the situation comes, he can do action. He enjoys doing action whenever it is called for. But when the situation comes, he enjoys also not doing anything. There also is happy. And therefore he says, Tasya kritena artha na kritena. Through that action, kritena artha. Through that action, that jnani does not expect any personal benefit. Any action that he does, he is not doing for his improvement of his own mind or his own body, right? So he does not expect any personal improvement. Na kritena iha kaschana, na akritena iha kaschana. Nor through inaction does he expect any result. He expects no results, no improvements through any karma. He expects no results, no improvements through lack of karma. Therefore, he is not dependent upon either action or inaction. And to understand this, you should take people who are older, who are past 60, retirees in today's world. What is the biggest problem for a retiree? If anybody of you has had a father or a mother who retired recently, you would know the answer to the question. What is the biggest problem?
How to pass time.
Having anything to do. Pass
How
time.
To
pass
stay
time.
fruitfully occupied.
The whole of your life, active life, you have been occupied, engaged in work, right? You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you have your breakfast, you go to work. You spend the whole day there, you come back, you're tired. That has been the life. So suddenly one morning you find that you don't have to brush, you have to brush your teeth, but you don't have to dress up and go to work. What to do? So you can plan your life in such a way that you are doing things. Like many organizations have this, 15-day program or a 20-day program for retirees just before they retire. How to spend your retirement It's a very wise thing to do. Tell people that, okay, you are not going to be having work to do. So at least office work to do. So what should you do? How to gracefully grow old. That is what is required. And how to enjoy your old age. During the working phase, the problem is what? That we all work. We are busy throughout. Whether you enjoy yourself or not, you are busy throughout. And you keep telling yourself, I will retire at the age, at so and so age, and then I will be happy. But when that retirement age comes, you have not planned for the retirement. You don't know what to do in the mornings. So I prepare financially for old age. I, have LIC, I have Mediclaim, I buy a house, I invest in shares and stocks, and I'm prepared. Financially, I'm prepared. Mutual funds, I'm prepared financially. But psychologically, my preparation is zero, right? And you see that people around me who are retirees, if they are not prepared, their life is living hell. They constantly fight with the children and their wives. Why? Because you cannot face that inaction which you're going through. How to enjoy myself even when I have nothing to do. That is what Krishna is saying. The Jnani is one who enjoys activity, but equally he enjoys inactivity also. And therefore he is independent from the standpoint of action and inaction. And more importantly, Krishna says he is independent of other people and events also, which is still more difficult. You all know, right? What happens? There are certain marriages, for example. That marriage is in Indian society at least is between two almost strangers. If you're lucky, they get to be fond of each other. And if you're unlucky, and if you are, one is a Vedantic, one is not, which is the lot of most of the people I know. One partner is Vedantic and one is not. One is internally oriented, one is externally oriented. And even though you stay together for the sake of the children, there is no real love over there. But ultimately what happens, you get used to that person. It's an addiction. And therefore there are always people in your lives whom you have known for a long time. Could be your spouse, could be your friends, could be your neighbors. And what is the problem with that? As you grow older, they also grow older, right? And, if you are a, let us say, TTC graduate, if you are a yogi, you will survive longer because your body is in good condition because of your regular asana practice, regular pranayama practice. And the fact that I am surviving healthily for longer, is it good news or bad news?
Very good.
Good news.
It is good news. What is the bad news along with it?
The partner is getting
The people around you keep being visited by Lord Yama. So you have to face the death of many people whom we have grown attached to. Many people whom we have grown used to. Some neighbor dies, some old friend dies. And especially if, like in today's world, every school batch has a WhatsApp group, right? So your batch has a school group, but you have a college group, you have a professional college group, you have a work group. And as you grow older, you'll find that, especially from the school and college groups, every second day, you have an obituary notice, isn't it? The problem is that you have to face the death of people all the time. And therefore, living long has, both pros and cons. If you have been a Vedantic student, if you have spent at least the last 15, 20 years of your life in Vedanta, you will find that retirement is very peaceful because it gives you tremendous time for revisiting the scriptures, lots of time for Nididhyasanam. You are busy all the time. There is not one moment in life when you don't know what to do. And I'm thinking from experience, right? I spend almost all my time on the scriptural, either thinking or reading or listening. And everybody wonders, what is it that you're so busy with? why don't you come down to the garden? Why don't you relax? But they don't know I'm relaxing. It is the most relaxing thing that I'm doing. So that's the advantage. You have lots of time for scriptural thinking, scriptural nididhyasanam, all these things you have. But there is the flip side also. You will find that one by one, people whom you like, people who you have grown up with will disappear. And therefore, you should be prepared for that also. The disappearance of people in your life, it's not easy to take. It requires tremendous emotional independence. The fact that I can remain unaffected, largely. I'm not saying that if an old friend dies, you should not feel some amount of emotion. You will. But that emotion comes, you recognize it for what it is, and you have to be prepared to accept. There's nothing you can do about it. That is emotional independence. You will learn to enjoy people's company when they are there with you, and you will learn to accept their absence when they are gone. Right? This is the effect of jnana. Like you can see in certain Indian families, the husbands are dependent on their wife for everything. Right? Food, morning tea, they have to be served very often in bed. Breakfast, they have to be served. Even the newspaper, the wife has to come and give it to you because you are sitting on your chair, easy chair, you don't get up. After bath, clothes have to be given. Right? So much dependence. What is the flip side? You can't bear that your wife goes away to see a mother for even a single day. It is not love on your behalf. It is a dependence. So all emotional weaknesses, any dependence is an emotional weakness. Krishna is saying these are all crutches. What is the problem with a crutch? When the crutch goes away, you fall. Krishna says, don't use crutches. Hold the stick in your hand. But there's a difference between holding the stick to support yourself and holding the stick as an expression of joy. So when you go for a walk, hold the stick in your hand. Don't use it to support yourself. The crutch has to be taken away and converted into a stick which you hold. And the jnani is the person who doesn't have any emotional crutches at all. That's why he says, Kaschid Artha Vyapashraya. He is not dependent upon anything in creation. And Sarva Bhuteshu Api. He is not dependent upon any person also in this creation. Therefore, the movement of the jnani is there from world dependence to God dependence to independence. World dependence is samsara. God dependence is bhakti. Self-dependence or independence is jnana. So the movement that we have to all go through, samsara to bhakti to jnana, that cannot be avoided. And Krishna is talking about the peak of jnanam over here. Totally emotionally free. Okay. Here we should understand. For example, many people are religious. Right? But many people do that religious duty. Why? And many houses you'll find that. Why do people light the lamp every day?
For punyam?
Because of
It's just
fear.
a habit.
Because
Fear.
It's just a habit without, sometimes mostly without reason as well, because it's just a habit.
Is there any other reason?
fear of God.
Fear of God. So many people do religious duties out of fear of consequences. If I don't light the lamp every day, something bad is going to happen today. If I don't go to the temple on Thursday, Bhagavan will not be happy with me and therefore he will punish me. Right? These are the reasons why people do religious duties. Many people, I'm not saying all, but many people. And because they do this, you will find that atheists use this point to tell you, if you get into a discussion with them, an Astika will tell you that your religion, instead of being a source of joy for you, has become a source of fear for you. And that is why I am an atheist. And you have no argument, because he is right. If you are doing your religious duties out of fear, whatever it is, fear of Satyavaya Papam, fear of the Lord, whatever it is better to be an atheist. Right? The Lord is not somebody whom you need to be afraid of. And the Jnani does all these duties. He also lights the lamp. He also goes to temples. But he has no fear. Why? As Shankara said, even Bhagavan cannot threaten his moksha. Where is the fear? There is total emotional freedom. And therefore, for a Jnana yogi, you will find that there is never any special prayer for him. So a special prayer is what? He will say, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Let all the people in the world be happy. But he will not have a prayer for himself, or for his wife, or for his children. Those are special prayers. And therefore, for the Jnani, there is no karma at all. Everything is karma abhasa. It's as if karma. And that's why Shankara also says, because for a Jnani, there is no karma, everything is karma abhasa only, as if karma only. That is why for a Jnani, there can be no Jnana karma samuchaya. It's a very favorite topic of Shankara. So there are some people who say that moksha can be obtained only through a combination of jnanam and that jnanam followed by karma. Shankara says for a jnani it is not possible, because for him karma itself is not there. Karma abhasa is there. Where is the question of it being combined with jnana? So jnani will also perform panchamahayagnya. But the punyam born out of that panchamahayagnya is not for himself. It is used for the good of the people. And therefore, his only prayer is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. So this Jnana Karma Samuchaya is something which we will be coming across many times. I think I've explained once or twice in the past also. Do you remember what is Jnana Karma Samuchaya?
Jnanam and karma.
Anybody?
It's a combination combining jnanam and karma.
Okay, let me briefly explain. Vedanta says that through jnanam alone you get moksha, right? Then there are some darshanas, Purva Mimamsa for example, which say that through karma alone one gets moksha. Then there is a third category called Vrittikaras, which say that neither through jnanam nor through karma can you get moksha. That jnanam has to be followed by karma. Then only can you get moksha. And they give the example of, you can give an example. For example, by knowing an apple, can your hunger be satisfied? No. The knowledge that the apple will satisfy your hunger, that knowledge, will it satisfy your hunger?
No, only eating it.
So that karma, knowledge has to be followed by karma. That combination is called jnana karma samuchaya. And that is one of the favorite Purvapakshis for Shankaracharya. So he uses every possible opportunity to refute that. And so here also he says that since Jnani does not have karma at all, Jnani has only karma abhasa, where is the question of jnana karma samuchaya? There is only jnana. Karma is not there at all. Okay, so with this, I'll stop for some time in case there are any questions. That is entire discussion on 18th verse.
So, sir,
Yeah.
when you say that when I said that we act for punyam, it's the same as if we act for fear of papa. That if I don't act, if I don't light a lamp, or if I don't do my puja and upasana regularly, then I will get papa. Therefore, it is the fear that is pushing you into action. At the same time, it's also the lalach of punyam that is pushing you into
So
action.
they are not really the same, because when you act for punyam, it is a positive thing. I will get this punyam.
Okay, yes.
That punyam can be used for some certain purposes, either to help other people or to get chitta shuddhi for me. So there is a positive thing. Acting, like because of fear is completely different.
So
Between the two, the acting, positive action is better than negative action.
better, yes, definitely. For punyam is better.
Yeah.
But if you are acting out of fear, then
Yes, Deepaji, boliye.
Yeah, Acharya ji. It's something like that when you accept that you are Brahman. So doing puja, doing ritual, I mean, you are doing it, it is there in your system, but you don't expect anything out of this. Is it so?
See, Deepa, the thing is, I mentioned earlier also that a discussion on why you should do this when you know you're Brahman is a bit premature. Why? Because once you know you're Brahman,
then you don't need to do it.
no, that's the problem. What is this you?
Okay.
If you say I am Brahman, what does that I include?
I'm separate from Brahman.
No, what does I include? Does it include
What?
your wife? Does it include your kids? Does it include the rest of the universe? Does it include the actions which you do? Does it include God himself? What does it include?
Sarvagataha.
Rest of the universe. Entire universe, everyone.
So if the entire universe is included, is there anything separate from you? No.
No.
There is only you. Because of that is why it is so difficult to assimilate Aham Brahmasmi. And that is why we say that, I say that, don't ask questions about what the Jnani will do. Because the very term Jnani itself, the moment you say Jnani, you are presuming Ajnani, and therefore Brahman is not there at all. Only when the assimilation is total, what will happen is there is no Brahman, there is no karma, there is no nothing, and therefore there are no questions. Right? Do you understand? Is it difficult?
No, it's not, but it will take some time to understand.
It has to be assimilated. It's like the lime pickle.
It's like knowledge is there, but assimilation is not.
Yeah, it's like putting the lime into the pickle sauce. If you take it out immediately after putting it in, you might have the sauce on the top of the lime, but not inside. Right? So you wait. You wait till you have been totally pickled. For that, I would say, how old are we in this session? BG5 is about a year old, right? We started when? Last February or something, right?
February.
So just over a year old. I would say you wait till we are well past the 7th or 8th chapter. Then you will find that ideas have changed. Your questions themselves will change. So that is the thing that in fact, traditionally in Shravanam, like I was told once that traditional Shravanam, until the entire teaching is over, you are not allowed to ask questions. Of course, we don't say that. But why? Because initial questions which you have may get answered by later teachings. So in the Gurukulams, that's why I put up that, that little verse over there. You learn only 25% from the Acharya. You have to learn 25% from the discussions with your other brahmacharis. Brahmachari means other students over here. 25% more you have to learn through your own contemplation. And the final 25% only time can give you. And therefore, pratiksha is the most important thing about Atmajnana. You have to wait and wait. If you try to rush into anything, you will find that my answers also will be incomplete because I can't presume that you know something and answer it that way. So unless that particular teaching is done, that answer will make no sense. Yes, Lata ji, boliye.
Oh, Acharya ji.
Oh,
So,
no.
I just wanted to check. Ideally, a jnani will also have karmas to be done. Okay, and that will be just the basic things like food or whatever things. So, ideally, to attain moksha, you're saying that there will be no karma at all for a jnani. So, if there is no karma at all, then how would the basic things happen like food, sleep, and things like that?
What is the outcome of a karma? Why do you do karma?
Alam.
You get
Phala.
something.
Karma phala.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, phalam, which is drishta phalam. If you eat,
Okay.
your body survives. That is drishta phalam.
Yeah.
Who is the jnani there?
There's no jnani there.
That where is the problem? Where is the question of jnani doing karma? The body.
So ideally, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The definition of the word I or you or jnani has to be crystal clear in your mind before these questions can be answered. Your very question says, how can the jnani survive? Jnani is immortal. It doesn't matter whether the body survives or not. That is the answer. Then the question would be, why should the jnani give up his body? That's a good question. And therefore the body eats because of prarabdha. Prarabdha requires the body to be alive for a certain amount of time. Therefore, the body has to eat. That body is certainly not the jnani. And therefore, you cannot say jnani eats.
But body is the source, right? I mean, it is like body is needed to survive, to even understand, to use your intellect, to know whether you're jnani or not.
But you say you are jnani already, no? Your very presumption was that jnani is going to eat. Once you have said that, if you are saying ajnani needs to eat, yes, ajnani identified as the body, he will definitely do karma.
Okay.
You see how difficult it is to, without a full understanding, it becomes very difficult to answer any question at all.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's difficult to even understand whether. So then, in that case, it's just chitta shuddhi. That's all. That you know that you're Brahman, or aham brahmasmi. That's it. But nothing else in this world would matter to you, whether it's food, your body, or anything or not.
let's take the example of, that is electricity. You have 10 bulbs in the house, right? And one bulb goes fused. So in that socket, because the bulb is fused, is electricity there?
No.
No? You put your
It is
finger
there.
there.
Electricity is there, but it is fused. That's it. Yeah.
The bulb is
It is
fused.
there.
Electricity is not fused.
Yeah.
And if
it
you don't
is there.
believe me, you put your finger in the socket, there's instant given.
No.
Videha Mukti will come
I believe
instantly.
you. I believe you.
That's instant Videha Mukti, okay? So electricity is there. So the electricity is Atma.
Atma,
The bulb is your body.
body.
One bulb fuses or not, what difference does it make to electricity? It doesn't. For us, it is much more complicated because you are a RC. You are identified with that bulb. You think you are the bulb. So the electricity thinks that it is the bulb, then the electricity has got a very serious problem. Then every bulb that dies, the thinker electricity will also die along with it. So when the body dies and RM dies, the RC dies. OC never dies.
Okay. Still difficult to get.
It is still difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. Okay, this
Yeah.
is, and that is why actually I started this particular session, which is in depth with Shankaracharya. Earlier on, whatever sessions I have taken, they have been just basic Mulam class, basic without too much of explanations about Shankaracharya. And because I thought that people needed, some people who were, in fact, there are many students here who have come earlier classes also. For them also, there's extra depth that is coming out of Shankaracharya. That will be very useful. That's why this PG5 is there.
Sir, in the example, of course, the examples are always limited. In the example, electricity is the source of light. But when you talk about Atma, then you are the light yourself.
No, electricity is not the source of light. Electricity is what causes the bulb to behave in the manner in which it's designed to do.
Okay.
Otherwise, the electricity which goes through a fan should also give light, no?
Okay.
You see?
True.
Electricity is that force which brings about the manifestation of the potential of the bulb or the fan, or for that matter, the electric chair in a prison. It is the same electricity. It does different jobs. Or the heart-lung machine. But the same electricity, when used in an operation theater, can run the heart-lung machine and save your life. Same electricity, when used in the prison chair, in the electric chair, can kill a person. Does it make sense?
So, another thought. So a person who is under meditation, okay, and completely looking at his thoughts and trying to cut off his thoughts. So there will be a certain point, maybe even just for a second, where he's thoughtless. Is that the experience of, being a jnani, or?
I'm glad you asked the question. So you have addressed the one most important point which we make, and which Vedanta makes, and which a lot of other darshanas emphasize. And this is exactly what is Jnana Karma Samachaya. That is why it's important. What is Jnana Karma Samachaya? Jnanam has to be followed by karma to give you moksha. So Jnanam has to be followed by meditation, where you get an experience. That is the way in which very many darshanas, very many scriptural teachers, very many scriptural schools, they preach. And the problem with that is what? The problem is that you are looking for an experience of Brahman. So you first learn that you are Brahman, and then you go into Samadhi. And as you said, there is a brief moment where you experience that you are Brahman. What is the problem with that?
Not permanent status.
That experience is not permanent.
There is a separation of you experiencing something else.
Brahman is aprameya.
No. There's one more very, very important point.
Once
Very
they're
important
out
point.
of the meditation, they're back.
Okay, that is all okay. But what are you experiencing?
You're experiencing your own self. You're experiencing self. You're connecting with self.
So that's like asking me to see my eyes. Is it possible?
No, it's not seeing eyes. I think it's more where you know you're Brahman, and because that part cannot be with you for a very long time. It's your vrittis. You again end up having a lot of thoughts. So
No, my point
you
is very
hardly have
simple.
for a second.
My question is, can you see your eyes?
No.
When do you see your eyes to put kajal?
In a mirror.
In a mirror.
So what you see in the mirror is your eye?
No, it's
reflection.
Reflection of that.
Reflection.
That is a precise point. You can never see your eyes. Whatever you see is only a reflection. You can never see Brahman, never experience Brahman. What you experience is only the reflection. The OC can never be experienced. Only the RC can be experienced. Which is why from day one, Tattva Bodha, we were talking about RC. OC can never be experienced. OC is you. How can you experience yourself? It is the RC which is experienced always.
then what is telepathy? Like at times, what happens? Maybe I just read someone's mind, and I get that connect, or I get that feeling that yeah, something may be wrong, and then when I call that person, yes, something is wrong or something is right.
It's okay. It's a supernatural experience. How does that take away from the fact that you cannot experience Brahman? You cannot.
So that is also RC, is it?
Everything is RC. OC is you. That OC can never be experienced. That is a basic difference in Vedanta. When Vedanta tells you that you have to know, you cannot experience. And therefore, in Vedanta, if any teacher tells you that you have to follow this up by meditation to experience yourself, he is not a Vedantic teacher. He belongs to another darshana. In Vedanta, the teacher has to convince you, the basic job of the teacher is to convince you that there is no experience, no separate experience of Brahman. What do I mean by separate experience of Brahman? Every moment of your life, in fact, every moment of your life includes when you are sleeping, includes when you are sushupti avastha, every moment that the body is there, alive, that is an experience of Brahman. How? When you get up in the morning, what is the first thought that should come to your mind? Very critical. What is the first thought?
I'm alive. I'm alive. Gratitude.
No, we are not getting into all those. Very Vedantic. I am alive is okay. Drop the alive part.
I am.
I am.
I
I
am.
am.
Aham. I am. That I am has two components to it. What are they?
I and am मैं हूँ.
मैं हूँ. ठीक है. मैं हूँ में दो कंपोनेंट है. क्या है वो? मैं और हूँ.
Existence मैं और हैं.
मैं और हूँ. मैं is the existence part. Who is the awareness of the part that I exist. I is the existence part. Am is the awareness part that I exist. There are two pieces, existence and consciousness. Am I making sense?
Oh, yes.
So
Yes.
I am the moment that first thought comes, I am. That is existence and consciousness. That is Brahman. Every second, everything after that is a superimposition. I am Lata, I am Hindu, I am Sudesh, I am Amit. That third thing is the adhyasa. What is being superimposed? The individuality that you have by virtue of the body. That is being superimposed. And that is when problems start. As long as there is only I am, there are no problems because your existence and consciousness only. The moment you say I am so and so, then problems start. But of course, that's a separate topic. The point here is that I am is the experience. And anything that you have after that is added on to this I am. And therefore, in every experience of your life, the I am is invariably present. Brahman is invariably present. Every moment of your life is an experience of Brahman. You don't need to experience Brahman because every moment is an experience of Brahman. And that is why you should never look for experience of Brahman. Anytime you look for an experience of Brahman, the indicator that you have not understood the teaching of Krishna. Brahman is there. You are Brahman. Every moment of your awareness is your experience. Even when in Sushupti Avastha, you are aware of what Sushupti Avastha is, right?
Sleep state.
In Sushupti Avastha also, you are not aware that your body is there, right? You are in dreamless sleep. What are you aware of in Sushupti Avastha? If you have to define Sushupti Avastha, when you wake up, what would you say?
I slept well.
Yes, I had a good
I
sleep.
slept well.
I is there or not?
Yes.
So that I is there, the am is not there because the mind was resolved. But that existence is very much there. And the may not be there in a conscious form because the mind was resolved, but the was very much there in a subtle form, because otherwise you would not be able to say that I had no dreams at all. That recalling the fact that I had no dreams is because the was there in a very subtle form. The mind was sleeping. The was there in dormant sleeping form. Now the mind has woken up. You are able to say, I had no dreams, and therefore existence and consciousness were existing even in Sushupti Avastha. Even the Sushupti Avastha was an experience of Brahman only. Therefore, Jagrata Avastha is experience of Brahman. Swapna Avastha is experience of Brahman. Sushupti Avastha is experience of Brahman. There is no time when Brahman is not experienced. And therefore, where is the need to go into meditation to look for an experience of Brahman? Every second of your life is Brahman experience only. This is what I want you to drive into your heads. That every moment that you are is an experience only of Brahman. There is a beautiful little Upanishad, which is called Kena Upanishad, which we will do in due course. In there, the teaching is very beautiful. So the student goes to the teacher and he is worshipping, right? He is worshipping the Ishtadevata. And he says, is this Brahman? The teacher, the Ishtadevata, the Devata which is worshipping, maybe it was Shivalingam, or maybe it was Taragramam, maybe it was a Krishna statue, whatever. So he's worshipping and he tells the teacher, is this Brahman? And you know what the teacher says? He says that whatever you worship can never be Brahman. Because that which enables you to do the worship, that is Brahman. Very beautiful statement. Whatever you worship can never be Brahman. That which enables you to worship, that is Brahman. And he follows it up. Whatever you see can never be Brahman. That because of which you see, that is Brahman. Whatever you understand can never be Brahman. That because of which you understand, that is Brahman. That is the crux of the teaching here. Whatever you experience, remember very clearly, that can never be Brahman. Because
you experience, so you can't be you.
That because of which you experience, that is Brahman. And what is it because of which you experience? I am. Existence, consciousness, which is your own self. And therefore, never again say that in meditation, I will go and experience Brahman. You are Brahman. Whatever you experience is Anatma. Atma can never be experienced.
So then, what is that point called? Is it Chitta Shuddhi? Is it Samadhi? What is that point called where you're just thoughtless when you're sitting still? What is it called?
Samadhi is a point where you are thoughtless. Being thoughtless will not help you know that you are Brahman. Being thoughtless just brings your mind to a quiet level. In that quiet level, you are supposed to be recalling the fact that you are Brahman. That is called Nididhyasa. So remember that any of you who have been looking at yoga, you have been looking at other the sadhanas, you will find a wide variation. Because wherever there is duality, where is the question of moksha? Moksha is possible only when there is no duality.
So samadhi and meditation only helps you get chitta shuddhi.
As far as we are concerned, Vedanta is concerned, samadhi is an excellent practice for focusing the mind, because it enables you to focus on one thing. Beyond that, samadhi has no spiritual value for us. So you will find many of these concepts divergent from what you think, because we are saying that Samadhi yoga has no meaning at all. We are not saying that Samadhi yoga is very useful, but certainly it is not a tool for moksha. It's an indicator that you can focus your mind. It's a help, subsidiary, discipline, not the main one. The main one is only jnana.
Acharya, but there is Jnanam in Yoga Sutras also, right? It does talk about a lot of Raga,
No,
Dvesha.
jnanam is there,
and,
yes. In Yoga Sutras has jnanam, but Yoga Sutra is a dualistic philosophy because Prakriti and Purusha are different in Yoga Sutra.
But even in Vedanta also, without Maya, like Purusha, consciousness, Brahman can't be expressed.
There is a huge
Only
difference.
existence.
There is a huge difference which you have to drive into your head. Purusha and Prakriti are both Satyam. Maya is not Satyam. Any other philosophy, the concept of Mithya is not there. Only in Vedanta we have the concept of a relative Satyam, dependent reality, which is Maya. Purusha is not dependent upon Prakriti. Prakriti is not dependent upon Purusha. But Maya is dependent upon Brahman. And because it is dependent on Brahman, that is why it can be negated. Only a dependent entity can be negated. A real entity can never be negated. Do you understand? Supposing you are seeing a snake on a rope, right, by mistake or because of dull light. That snake on the rope is dependent upon the rope for its existence, is it not? No, you understand what I'm saying. In dull light, in dim light, you are seeing a snake on the rope. Would that snake be seen if the rope was not there?
No.
You are sure?
Yeah, I mean, rope is there. That's why we are misguiding ourselves.
That is, then therefore there is a dependence of the snake upon the rope. And because it's a dependent entity, that is why it can be negated. You can't go to a snake park and negate the snake over there. A real snake can never be negated. Only the dependent snake can be negated. Real Maya, if Maya was real, which is Prakriti, in Yoga Sutras, it could never be negated. But Maya is not real in Vedanta. Therefore, it can be negated. A lot of very important Vedantic concepts you have talked about. I think you should go and, assimilate properly.
But at the time of Pralayam, Acharya, so the Brahman is always there, I understand.
Correct.
So, but even the Maya also like the in unmanifested form, right? Like it's not
Maya is avyakta avastha.
Right. So that means the existence of Maya is also always there.
No,
So
it is a mithya existence. That you have to drive into your head. Maya is mithya existence only. That's why I gave Amit the example of saying that as if beautiful. So Maya as if exists. The moment you accept Maya as real, which is yoga philosophy, moksha is gone.
But the end of the day, for us to be here, both are required, right, Acharya? Like Maya and Brahman both are there.
Yes.
So why are we not accepting Maya as the, the Sankhya philosophy?
Because if Maya is real, there is no question of you are ever getting moksha. Maya is matter. Matter is permanently having problems. It can never get away from itself. It will have birth, it will have death. What is moksha? Beyond birth and death.
Okay.
I told you, it takes a long, long time to understand. So just stay with the teaching. We'll come to everything in due course.
Yeah, the problem is all of us are into yoga also. So that's where the confusion
Your yoga
comes.
should be basically asana practice, pranayama practice, meditation practice. The jnanam portion should never touch into your yoga practice. Remember that your yoga practice is purely for improving the mind, improving the body. Do not ever think that yoga practice will touch Atma. It will never touch Atma.
Because some of us are also into teacher training programs, like some teachers. So we classify Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Yoga is classified under the Moksha Shastra.
It
so
is
should
not.
we start
It's wrong to say
saying
that. It is wrong to say that. Or you have to say it is a subsidiary, ancillary Moksha Shastra. That is to say, it will help you to get Chitta Shuddhi. You cannot take it as Moksha Shastram primary. You say that you're wrong. You are spreading wrong knowledge. You have to say, yes, it is ancillary. It is a thing which helps you to get Chitta Shuddhi. Therefore, it is part of Moksha Shastra. Like Veda Purva. I mean, the whole analogy is Veda Purva gets you into Chitta Shuddhi. Vedanta gets you into Moksha. You cannot say Veda Purva is unimportant. You cannot say yoga is unimportant. It is essential, right? Without Chitta Shuddhi, you cannot get into Jnana. Without Yoga Shastra, you cannot come to Jnana. But if you remain in Yoga Shastra, it is an incomplete journey. So you have to enter Yoga Shastra, come out of it, come into Jnana.
Okay. One last question, Acharya. So when they say that Tada Drashtu Swarupe Vastanam, what is that Drashtu means as per that? The realize or one established in its own nature. What is that nature?
You realize that you are the OC from the Vedanta point of view. But remember again that there is Yoga Shastra is dualistic. And therefore, while you may explain in that manner, you cannot try to reconcile Yoga Shastra teachings, not the practice. The teachings you cannot reconcile. So Vedanta rejects the entire philosophy of Yoga Shastra. Vedanta accepts that the practices are very important for Chitta Shuddhi, but the entire teachings, the philosophical teachings of Yoga Shastra, we don't accept at all. And if you try to do that, not only will you confuse yourself, you will confuse the students also. And you will be very, very careful when you try to teach, because even in the ashram we do both. You know, and unless extremely clear about what is what, you are going to end up confusing the students. And of course, confusing yourself. Yes, Mangala, last question.
Om Raviji, so when you were telling us that the experiencing part, right? So should I think that experiencing is, it comes under Maya?
Any experience is anatma. So yes, but then there's no need to classify like that.
Okay.
Any experience has to be anatma only. And at the moment you say I experience, that I of you is also anatma. The RC.
And also to take the example of the electricity. So can I think that electricity itself is like Maya, right?
No, that was not the idea at all. Electricity is the power, the force, Brahman, which lends consciousness.
Okay.
The electricity cannot manifest without the bulb or the fan.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so with this we'll stop here. Today's been a very long session with a lot of inputs. So I would suggest that you please go and listen to it again, make your notes. Any doubts you have, please put in the group. And as I said earlier, I would like the group to follow the traditional thing. The group should first reply. And if at all, at the end of it, I find that the original question has not been replied, then I'll give my inputs. So with this we'll stop over here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Tat Sat Acharya.
Om.